So this is the Museum of the 80s in Sarajevo. Kind of like a new museum if you like, but it showcases story. So this would have been Yugoslavia back then, but you can actually see how similar it was. And I remember as a child being told how evil communism was and how they were like almost shivering in their homes with nothing. And this is genuinely a typical, well, a make-up of a typical Sarajevo kitchen in an apartment. And I can tell you now, I've been in apartments in Sarajevo. As you know, I've been here many times before, Yugoslavia, mail sack. And I can tell you, I see apartments, not so much now because they're being refurbished like in the UK, but if you look, so this was the 80s Yugoslavia, and I would say kind of this style was more sort of 70s, like you check those out, I remember those in the 70s. But certainly in 82, 83, I can remember front rooms and kitchens being like this, and you can imagine people sat around the table. Let's have a look at that table. So you've got the posh ashtray, and it is so similar. I mean, you think at the time we were hearing stories about how during communism people were suffering. I mean, look at the quality of the washing machine. Look at it. I mean, you could use that today. I mean, you wouldn't because it's a bit of a smaller drum. But you look, telephone. I had one of those in my room. We all had one of those, didn't we? It says photo spots. Recipe cards. I don't remember my mother or my grandmother having as many recipe cards as that, but look, they've got loads. Obviously, this is sort of like a stereotypical type, so, but yeah, the colour scheme. I've got a kettle like that now. It's silver, but it still boils and whistles. Is there a whistle on there? I don't know. I remember in the 90s, the yellow stuff coming out, you know. Look, that's actually a TV. Very similar to one we had, although there was a dial at one point and then push buttons. 1984. I mean, look at it. The china, the crockery. And this is Museum of the 80s. So, radio from the kitchen. There's, you can pause and have a look at that. I'll come back to that actually, I'll take a picture. So, oh, I found out you can take pictures while you're filming, would you believe? And then this looks, should we just continue the video, make it a longer video? Yeah, let's. It's almost our version of the C90 motorbike. Do you see how similar? I wonder, you know, if they were making stuff here and selling them on. The education. Don't know if you can read that well. Let's do that for you. International Workers' Day. Is that ABBA playing in the background? Shall we have a look? So one of these beds, like a chaise longue, Sarajevo Olympics. You see, so yes, the Yugoslavia film industry. I remember in East Germany, one or two, was it? Is it one or two? Famous Western film. It is. John Edrington. They're playing ABBA. I want you to stand up while watching this, John, and dance. I actually want you to put that on YouTube. That would cheer me up. So the main, so that's a colour TV. So very much like in my grandmother's house in the early 80s, I had a main TV like that, and he had a black and white. My great grandfather was still alive, and he had a black and white VCR player, VHS. Don't think they had the Betamax here, and that's this showing old Yugoslav cartoons. Again, takes you back. So then you come into, wow, so this is like a, so I would say this is more like a bedroom really. So you'd have like the sitting area that become your bed, school, even a globe. I had one of those in the 80s. You see? Oh, I remember how. Look, see, check this TV out. Now that, you had to be rich in '84 to have that. Tig Thomas, I don't think you even had one of those. Mrs. Adams had one. Sure she did. But you know what? Was that the 80s? Was that the 90s? Was it the 2000s? I couldn't tell you. But a typical living room, and look at it. And the smell, the smell here takes you back. There's obviously other memorabilia, but it really gives you a flavour for how Yugoslavia was. You had to be rich to have radio and record player at one point. Chess set. And look, they've got one of those. See what I mean? It just, we're coming through to a typical, what looks like an adult's bedroom. Gramophone. And look. So lots of cards. Stanley knows about postcards. He gets one from me wherever I go. So here we are. I'm going to read this to you. So it says about tourism. Actually, look, you can read it for yourselves. That's saying, millions of workers and their families spent 10 days at the seaside in the mountains or in camps with only a symbolic contribution. Most of the costs were covered by the trade unions. Can you imagine the life they had then under communism here? It was a different type of communism, but check that out. So they're talking about a holiday, going away on a holiday as being a right, not a privilege, you know. And can you imagine if we were living like that today? It's chilly here, I'm not going to lie. I'm outside, it's getting to sort of 1 - 1. Oh, there you go, Emily. Look at that double bed. I remember an eider down like that. See? In the 80s. Yugoslavia. So I think we were lied to about communism. Here we are. That says, can you read that? There we are. So this is turning into a Steve Marsh style video, but do you know what? Let's have a little poke in, shall we? They've got clothing. Look, John, do you remember my flat in men's shirts? Do you remember my flat in Slovakia? Similar. I'm getting the same sort of vibes from this Yugoslav Airlines. And this, guys, you see they've got like women's magazines. This was nothing like we were sold it was. There may be one more room. Oh, here we are. So this is a typical shop of products. So, in Yugoslavia in the 80s. Let's go through and have a look. So some of their own products, they were so from being in Bosnia. I know that Yugoslavia produced a lot of their own goods. So a lot of them are different brands but the same as ours, if that makes sense. But yeah, you can see they had litre bottles of cola. I remember Pepsi's like that. Mirinda, remember? So some of this I'm sort of doing for Stan, but this is for everybody really if you're interested. Mirinda drink, you can still get that to this day. All those drinks. Chocolate brands, some of which have gone, obviously. Let's have a look at the cigarette brands. So they've got Senator, Morava, I think they're brands that have gone. Obviously they still do Drina. Smoking them now. Well, not now, you can't smoke in here. Drina. So you've got nothing like you were told, coffee, proper coffee. I think the Yugoslavians in the Cold War were living better than well, certainly better than in East Germany. Look at that advert. It's like something from home, isn't it, from the 80s? See how rich they actually were. So they're Jaffa cakes, basically. Their version of, but from what I understand, they tasted exactly the same. The money, bags. It's literally, they were having the same lifestyle as us, but better, without all the hassle that we had. Look at that. The brands. Crazy. Something about counterintelligence here. We'll have a look at that. That's not really what we're here for, is it? Counterintelligence. Who wants to know? The alarm clocks. I had one like that, but with Ipswich Town on. I had a Mickey Mouse one too. Something about the dissolution. So there's a little bit about the genocide, which we'll kind of keep off this video because you're tuning in. And what you do, you pause the video and you read these things. Doing my best. I'm not really a YouTuber, but you know, I think this is a video that most beautiful blonde in town. Well, we know who will win that, and that'll be Emily. Food industry, and you've got to come here for yourselves, guys. You really have. But yeah, hopefully that's been of some interest. 1943 from the war. How amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, take care. Books up there as well. You see? 80s nostalgia. All taken up.